Hi there and welcome to Sell, Serve, Prosper Radio. I'm your host Lee Farnell and I'm here to share with you insights into my own sell, serve and prosper journey and the lessons and the insights that I get working with my clients to help them sell more, serve more and prosper more. Whether you're an entrepreneur working for yourself or you're an intrapreneur working in a company, you want success and prosperity for yourself, your customers and the people you care about. So in these episodes, I share with you interviews, inspiration and practical insights to help you with the real-life science and success of service-based selling, persuasion, influence, management and leadership. Sell, Serve, Prosper Radio is dedicated to helping you and those people you care about optimize your personal and your business potential. I want to help you sell more, serve more and prosper more. So if you want some more tools and support to help you, go to sellserveprosper.com.
Sell, Serve, Prosper Radio with Lee Farnell.
Hi there and thanks for listening. Look, I want to talk to you today about something that's really been bugging me. We're talking about sell, serve and prosper. Our mission really is to educate and empower people to sell more, serve more and prosper more. And certainly as part of prosperity, the UN global goals are super important to me because the UN has allocated 17 key goals, not only in and around poverty, but the one I'm most interested in is quality education, how education needs to empower and be quality. And what's happened in the last couple of weeks, some of you may have been aware that Grant Cardone, who is one of America's best sales trainers, and I certainly get a lot of good information from him and his team, and another guy, Jordan Belfort, who many of you would have seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. Leonardo DiCaprio starred in it, and it certainly didn't put Jordan Belfort in a good light. Drug addict, liar, cheat, but very good at training his and motivating his sales team to rip people off. And now he is out in the marketplace doing sales training as well. So you can go onto YouTube and you can see both these guys in action. But what happened recently was Grant Cardone agreed to go on an interview, a podcast with Jordan Belfort, and it was just unbelievable in terms of sickening ego, Americans at their worst. It's almost like Donald Trump meets Grant Cardone meets Jordan Belfort, and who wanted to prove themselves to be the biggest swinging you-know-what, biggest ego, who had the most power in the room. It was just sickening to me anyway, and it really brought into sharp contrast what I stand for in terms of quality education, a systematic approach to education, rather than who's got the biggest private jet, who's got the biggest swinging, who's got the biggest palatial home overlooking the ocean. It was psychologist field days. But what I want to talk about is something that helped promote or provoke me to go, well, what makes quality education? What makes quality sales training? And so I looked into this, and as I said, the UN Global Goals, goal number 4 is quality education. Let me just read some of the things that we're looking at and around, because one of the things we're saying here is when you prosper, when I can help you prosper more and help you create a more of a surplus, you can then give back through groups like B1G1 or your favourite charity to actually make an impact. So we say the best thing you can do for the poor is not become one of them, because when you're not poor, when you're creating a surplus, when you're creating prosperity, you can then give back to those who are struggling, particularly in terms of education, empowerment, quality water, quality oceans, a whole range of areas. But I think B1G1 and the work that Paul Dunn's doing is just a great partner. You can join there. So let's take a look at this. An article I was reading said last September the United Nations, this is a year or so ago now, ratified 17 Sustainable Development Goals. SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, to serve as benchmarks for every nation to ensure global prosperity, protection of the planet, and an eradication of poverty. This agenda is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. It also seeks to strengthen universal peace in larger freedom. We recognise that eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions, including extreme poverty, is the greatest global challenge and an indispensable requirement for sustainable development. All countries and all stakeholders acting in collaborative partnership will implement this plan, and that's from a document called Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development from the United Nations. So this week, two leading education organisations that represent over 30 million educators globally, the ASCD, based in Washington DC in the metro area, and Education International, EI, based in Brussels, Belgium, released a statement in support of the Sustainable Development Goals and the pursuit of quality education for all. In the statement, ASCD and EI define a quality education as this: a quality education is one that focuses on the whole child. I'll say the whole person because I want to be, of course, in most cases focusing on adults, but the whole child, the social, emotional, mental, physical and cognitive development of each student, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status or geographic location. It prepares the child for life, not just testing. Don't you love that? It prepares the child for life, not just testing, not just for testing. And so here, when I'm talking about self-serve prosper, I want to be preparing adults for a life of prosperity based on self-sufficiency, self-determination, selling, sales, influence, persuasion. First of all, of course, selling themselves that they can be prosperous, that they can achieve, that they can make a difference. So quality education provides resources and directs policy to ensure that each child enters school healthy and learns about and practices a healthy lifestyle. In my case here, a quality education is what I would call a healthy sales lifestyle. Sales lifestyle, so it's mind, body, spirit, mental, social, emotional. What is the mental, social, emotional, physical life of a successful, prosperous salesperson? Coming back to the quote. So practices a healthy lifestyle, learns in an environment that is physically and emotionally safe for students and adults. So I want to, when I'm working with teams, create a physical and emotionally safe environment. I call it a sales mastermind environment where it's safe to practice, it's safe to learn, it's safe to make mistakes. And then the other side is actively engaged in learning and is connected to the school and the broader community. And in this case, my sales teams and my organisations are connected to not only their company and feeling part of the team and safe in that team and wanted and belonging in that team, but also the broader community. Like, for example, last week, Niche Living literally renovated a house for a kid that had literally lost arms and legs through some disease that he got through the hospital, and it's just tragic. And the family needed more space, and Niche Living got a team together, and it was on tonight. Absolutely fantastic. But all of us should be connected, of course, to the broader community, as I am through my water polo club, coaching the kids. Lecturing the kids on mind, body, spirit, but at the same time through other charities as well. And we want people, in terms of quality education, coming back to the quote, having access to personalised learning that is supported by qualified, caring adults and is challenged academically and prepared for success in college and further study and for employment and participation in a global environment. So here, as I'm working with organisations, we want personalised learning plans for various salespeople, because the new person needs a different plan than the highly experienced person. And so we develop personalised learning. At the same time, we want this person, the salesperson, to not only be connected to their business and their customers, but the broader community and even further, the global environment. So how are they going to take their surplus and not only invest in themselves, which of course Warren Buffett says is the best investment, investing in yourself, but the broader community and the broader global environment. A quality education provides the outcomes needed for A quality education provides the outcomes needed for individuals, communities, and societies to prosper. That's very much my point in Sell, Serve, Prosper. We want to provide quality sales coaching, sales education, sales mentorship in companies, not only for the individual to prosper, the business to prosper, but for their community and the society in general to prosper. As I've said, based on George Clayson's quote, for our society to prosper financially, we have to teach the people in the society to prosper financially. That's why I love working with people like Niche Living, because part of the mission is to help people get on the first rung of the Great Australian Dream to own their own home, to quit renting and own their own home, and invest and become investors in obviously both residential and commercial real estate and other assets. It allows schools to align and integrate fully with their communities and access a range of services across sectors designed to support the educational development of their students. And that's why even only a couple of weeks ago there I was back in Eagle Hawk helping with the Empowering Eagle Hawk program, where we're teaching the leaders, the student leaders, how to lead, how to empower themselves, how to empower others, how to empower their communities, how to turn problems and opportunities into projects. Of course, I'd love to help you and your teams, or if you'd like me to help you, give you the material that I used, and you can be certified to go and run that program in your local community as well, as part of quality education, education to empower not only the individual to sell more, but to serve their community. So quality education is supported by three pillars. One, ensuring access to quality teachers. And of course you can do that when it comes to sales, service, prosperity through our online academy, and that's going to be ever expanding both locally and globally. Two, providing use of quality learning tools and professional development. Again, we've got a whole range of learning tools, templates to help you there on the academy. And three, the establishment of safe and supportive quality learning environments, which again is what we do with our sales mastermind process. It's not just sit and listen, it's not just sit and lecture. I'd love to show you, if you come on the academy, you'll see just last week our Inventing the Future workshop, which was just terrific, where people were not sitting and listening but very actively engaged. A quality learning environment. Another definition, quality education enables people to develop all of their attributes and skills to achieve their potential as human beings and members of society. That's why we have to learn and coach and train people how to sell, be more influential, sell their ideas. Literally, I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said, you know, Bob, and I won't say his real name, you know, he had some great ideas, but he just couldn't sell them. He got people offside. He offended them. He insulted them, and all he did was focus so much on problems. He wasn't optimistic, or gave hope, or didn't focus on solutions. And so here's this person had great ideas, but kept shooting themselves in the foot because they didn't have the education of how to influence, or they weren't coachable in how to influence. Quality education provides the foundation for equity in society. As they say, an old Chinese proverb, education is both a sieve and a lift. It can lift you up, but if you fall through the cracks, you fall down, and that's not so good. So quality education provides the foundation for equity in society. Quality education is one of the most basic public services, and that's why I'm so committed to quality education, to help people learn these fundamental skills of self-sufficiency, self-determination, sell. I don't mean in your face hardcore American sell. I'm talking about something else. A good quality education is one that provides all learners with capabilities they require to become economically productive, develop sustainable livelihoods, contribute to peaceful and democratic societies, and enhance individual well-being. The UN Global Goals. Education is not simply a content delivery system. I like that. It's not just an information production line, content delivery system. Rather, it is a system designed to help all children, and I'll say all people reach their full potential and enter society as full and productive citizens. It's way more than just reading books and knowing the history of the Great Wall of China. So here when I'm talking about quality sales service leadership education, what I'm seeing is that there are far too many, well, average teachers at best. I'm being kind when I say that. But let's call poor education. One, there's no structure. When I say no structure, it's just someone rambling away, maybe even showing 400 PowerPoint slides or no PowerPoint slides and just rambling stories about their experience. Just do like I do. It's like one of my friends who was a fantastic water polo player, but possibly an average coach, just just do what I did. Just do what I do. Forget the fact that he couldn't deconstruct or teach it, or only half taught it. Just do as I do. I was good, so you can be too. If I can do it, you can do it. Yeah, great. But where is the structure? Where are the steps breaking down the process? And of course, that can become very disempowering. Poor education is disempowering. Look, I'm so great, you're never going to be as good as me. I've got 3 private jets and I've got a house overlooking the ocean with 33 rooms and 23 bathrooms. In your face. It's insulting, poor education. If you ever looked at the Glenn Ross movie or play where Alec Baldwin does the, coffee is for closers, you're a wimp, wimps don't deserve it, insulting, always be closing. And I've got to say that Grant Cardone, Jordan Belfort interview the other day was the height of ego and crassness and lack of teaching. It was really who's got the biggest private jet and who is the world's #1 sales trainer, and really their behaviour in both those. And by the way, I've watched both of them, and I've got to say, certainly Jordan Belfort, I would not be calling him the world's #1 sales trainer by any means.
Start a sales revolution in your business. SellServeProsper.com.
So if you've looked at any of the work of Professor Howard Gardner from Harvard University on his multiple intelligences, then you'll understand that education needs to be covering off, quality education needs to cover off and engage all of those multiple intelligences. So someone standing at the front of the room ranting and raving at you how to here sell this pen and I'm great and talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour is not, in fact, going to be quality education. Crass education. And then, of course, poor education, no nurturing, no practice, no follow-up. It's a once-off sheep dip, come once a year, or even, once every 5 or 10 years. Even worse, where there's no link with internal goals. That is, how's this going to help the person get to where they want to go, but also how's it going to help the company get where it wants to go. So, they're using examples of how to sell ice cream or how to sell shoes, where in fact you're talking to computer or IT people or accountants or lawyers. It needs to be specific, which is what we're talking about. Smart education, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, realistic, and there's time frames. There's a cadence to it. It's smart quality education. And of course, poor education is where you're just sitting in an audience listening very passively. We know that kind of learning doesn't stick. And as I say, it's even worse when you're talking to a group of people and they say, it's the last bit of training I did or last education I had in this area was 10 or 15 years ago. Outrageous. So if you want quality education, then one, there'll be a structure. There's a structure. We start and there's a series of steps. We've broken it down. There's deconstruction. There's deliberate practice. There are teaching points with examples and stories to embed and give context to, where you turn the concept into concrete. And that's so important. So then it becomes much more real. It empowers. It makes me feel good. It gives me hope. It's student-centric, not teacher-centric. It certainly isn't insulting, although at times it may take you out of your comfort zone. It's done in a way where there's support and there's structure and there's rationale, and the student, the learner, can see why they're doing it and can understand it. There's fun. There's multiple intelligences involved. It's nurturing. There's one-to-one support where we customize the learning and help it to be relevant to that person's level of skill and individual learning plan. There's a chance to practice and embed. We're using neuroscience, where we use deliberate practice to literally rewire the nervous system so that there is skill development. There's regular follow-up cadence. People know it's every day, every second day, every week, that there's a regular scheduled cadence to what we're doing, a routine, a training and learning routine. So it's scheduled, it's not a one-off cheap dip, it's part of the learning culture of the organisation. It's aligned to company goals and strategy and product and situations. It's real-time and relevant, so it's smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, relevant with a time frame. There are both group and individual learning plans. Where are we taking the group, but where are we taking the individuals within the group to help them develop their skills using a skills matrix? So of course, it's easier where you just get in front of a group and rant and rave and tell your stories, and the speaker walks away feeling good, and the group are left disempowered and confused, or even feeling worse about themselves. And so what do I do? What are the steps? Did I pick up anything? It's a bit like someone once saying, it's like throwing a pile of spaghetti at the wall. You throw a whole pile of information and stories that are unstructured to an audience and hope that some of it sticks. Whereas smart, quality education is, as I say, structured, empowering, works with individual and group learning plans, and is part of a company lifelong learning attitude and culture. So if you want help, if you want quality education as distinct from crass education, then touch base, because that's what we stand for at Self-Serve Prosper and LeeFarnell.com. That's what we will do. That's what I have done for 30 years, is committed myself to quality education where it's smart, not dumb, where it's not just throwing spaghetti at people, but it's structured, it's drilled. We use neuroscience. We work with Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence. We make it so that it's adult learning, not insulting learning. So I hope that's of some interest to you, because if you're serious about sales transformation, business transformation, lifelong learning, then you'll also be committed to goal number 4 of the global goals, quality education. Want any help? Touch base with me. I'd love to help you and your team go to the next level. Share the information. We're getting such great results with people involved in our Sales and Service Academy. We're empowering, we're educating, we're making a difference, and we're certainly helping sales and service excellence go to a whole other level with our client companies. Thanks for listening.
Everyone sells, everyone serves.
Hi there, and thanks for listening. Now, if you do like the podcast, please do click like, let us know. Share it with your friends and your colleagues. Subscribe. Click subscribe so you get the Self-Serve Prosper podcast on a regular basis. Give us some feedback. What do you like? What would you like to hear more of? What don't you like? And also join our Facebook group, Self-Serve Prosper, on Facebook. We want to help you and your friends and your colleagues and your customers sell more, serve more, and prosper more. So let's stay in touch. Thanks for listening.